Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and we have some great Commanders injury updates, especially for Samuel Cosmi and Noah Brown. Now, we do have a little bit of bad Terry McLaurin news, the kind of news that a lot of y'all probably expected. We're going to dive into all of that. I'm even going to show you clips of Noah Brown in yesterday's practice running routes. It looks like he could return against the team that he hit for the Hail Mary last year, and what better time than against the Bears. And then also, we're going to dive into JD5's press conference after yesterday's practice as well. And I feel like the main takeaway was please stop asking JD5 about that Hail Mary, man. But we're going to dive into that and a lot more. We have a lot of other press conference notes and updates. And it's going to be somewhat of like a Rico report to the end of the video where like just random things that came up within the last week. I want to let y'all know a few things like the Commanders scouting certain games in college football from the past week, or, you know, just different things, film study breakdowns, extra notes that came from the Chargers game, just a bunch of randomness like typical Rico reports tend to be. But before we get into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Appreciate y'all for supporting every video. Shouts out to the watch to the end gang. Shouts out to the late night crew. Shouts out to Nody gang as well, man. Really appreciate y'all for supporting the channel the way that y'all are doing, man. It's crazy. Now let's go ahead and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so let's talk about the positive news concerning Noah Brown and Samuel Cosmi. First of all, before we even get into the updates that Dan Quinn gave us before the practice even started, here's some clips of Noah Brown at the practice. This first one is uploaded by Skylar Nelson. It's just a quick 7-second clip of Noah Brown just running some routes. And again, he looks pretty good out there. He's doing sharp cuts, sharp turns and everything like that. We'll see what it looks like in an actual game day scenario. But, you know, practice-wise, that looks pretty good. If I didn't know he were hurt, I wouldn't have guessed off of that clip. Then you have this clip right here by Donna Hopkins. Another short clip, this one just 5 seconds, him doing different cuts right there. It looks like he's pretty good to go. I mean, nice little chop step right there, little stutter step. And, hey, I think he's pretty, I think if I had to guess right now, he's playing against the Bears. And then lastly, you have this clip uploaded by Scott Abraham. And this one's 39 seconds long. He even tweeted, "Great to see Noah Brown back on the practice field. The Commanders wide receiver practicing for the first time since injuring his groin in the Packers game of week 2. And then Rio Robinson quote tweeted it and says, "Please play so Christopher Moore can never wear this uniform again." And I completely agree. My dog Louis T even quote tweeted that and said, "I approve this message. We are tired of Chris Moore. We were tired of Chris Moore even before we got to the regular season. We were all like, okay, he didn't make the 53-man roster. Maybe we're in the clear." Then he makes the practice squad. Then we go through this roller coaster ride. Oh, okay, he actually learned how to catch a little bit now in a couple of games this regular season where he made a couple of plays, especially in that first week 1 game against the Giants. And then he goes out there and drops one of JD5's best plays I've ever seen him done of his career so far. It's never going to appear in his highlight tapes. When, you know, years down the line, JD5 wins some MVPs, he wins some Super Bowls, that play is not going to be included in his highlight clip because Chris Moore dropped the touchdown after JD5's on the run, escaping pressure, side throws it while on the run, doesn't even have a chance to plant his feet, set his feet or anything like that. Incredible throw. Shouts out to Chris Moore for dropping it though. So again, even though Noah Brown is not necessarily the most dependable guy, even when he's on the field, you know, now injuries are one thing, but he also even dropped a couple of passes against the Packers. But I trust him way more than I trust Chris Moore. You know, the whole thing with Chris Moore this season was, okay, he hasn't messed up yet. He's been making catches when he was supposed to. He's been contributing on special teams. Once he had that first drop, you're done. You're off the team, in my opinion. I don't even want him on the practice squad because I don't know what he's doing on the practice squad to make them believe, hey, we should give this guy a shot in regular season games. I don't know. Maybe he looks like Randy Moss on the practice squad when we're in practices throughout the week, and then we get to Sundays and he reverts back to his normal Chris Moore settings. I don't know what it is, but get him off the practice squad as well, because whatever he's doing there is enough, at least for the Commanders to convince themselves, hey, maybe he can go out there and make catches when we need him to in a regular season game. No, he does not. So let's just chill on that. Let's get him all the way off practice squad, everything, bro. I'm scared. Stop elevating them at the very least. But now moving on. Dan Quinn spoke to the media before you're even seeing these clips that went down. This is before practice. This is the clips you're seeing are Noah Brown in the practice. Dan Quinn said that wide receiver Noah Brown, dealing with a knee and groin injury, will practice today, which he ended up doing yesterday. He did practice, but Terry McLaurin with the quad injury will not. We're going to come back to Terry McLaurin a little later on. And then Samuel Cosmi will practice full this week, according to Dan Quinn. It's not clear if he will return this week or not, but he will practice in full. Dan Quinn said Cosmi will get a full week of practice. He practiced 2 days last week, again, all full, and the team has 2 weeks to lift him off the 21-day window to activate him from the PUP list. They started it last week, and they have until at the very latest, the very, very latest, the Cowboys game after this Bears game to go ahead and throw Cosmi out there. Quinn said right guard Samuel Cosmi will get a full week of practice working with both the scout team and the offense. He'll get reps yesterday and will go through a padded practice today. So yesterday's practice was more of like a light one. Today's practice will be fully padded, and Samuel Cosmi will be out there for that. This may be his first fully padded practice since he got hurt all the way back in January, and this could be very telling as to whether he plays against the Bears Monday night or not. They want him in when he's ready and want him comfortable with this technique, so they're not going to force him out there because, again, at worst, they have another week. They can wait till worst case scenario against the Cowboys to play him, so they're not going to force him against in this Bears game. But I think, honestly, me as in Rico of StreetScores, I think he will play. Quinn said they aren't in a rush with Commanders right guard Samuel Cosmi, who was a full practice participant last week. The positive play of left guard Chris Paul and right guard Andrew Wiley as of late definitely helped with that as well. You don't have to rush him back because we have excellent depth on the offensive line. Andrew Wiley could be starting for other teams. He's starting for us right now, and he's going to revert right back to the bench when Samuel Cosmi comes back healthy. Now, Samuel Cosmi was even asked, and he said, hey, if I don't return this week, I will versus Dallas. This was after the practice that went down yesterday. JP Finley called him, asked him personally, how do you feel about your chances of playing against the Bears? He's like, I mean, basically, I feel good, but if I don't end up playing against the Bears, at worst, I will play against the Dallas Cowboys. So we can know that at least, minimum that. But again, going back to Terry McLaurin, Dan Quinn said that Terry will not be practicing. He said they will monitor both, including Noah Brown, as this week unfolds. Quinn said that Brown's absence is related to the groin and not the knee injury suffered in the spring that lingered into camp. So it's not the leg injury that had us worried all the way back in mandatory minicamp. It's the new groin injury that he suffered against the Packers as to why he's been missing games recently. But the knee injury just keeps appearing on the practice report for whatever reason. But apparently he can play through that knee injury. It's whatever the groin injury he suffered against the Packers, that's the reason he's been missing games. And then earlier today, all the way back at like 9:30 a.m., Ian Rappaport went on NFL Network and said that Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, his status, quote, does not seem like they're going to have the services of one of their top wide receivers, unquote, when talking about McLaurin in this upcoming game against the Bears. So John Comm said that he thinks Terry McLaurin will play. That was a couple of days ago. Then Dan Quinn came out the next day and said that he's optimistic that Terry McLaurin will play. I don't know what new information that came out that Ian Rappaport felt comfortable enough to say this on national television to let people know he doesn't think Terry McLaurin will play against the Bears on Monday night, which is interesting because, again, it's completely conflicting to a Commanders reporter, John Comm, that's the direct correspondent for ESPN concerning the Commanders. Then you have Dan Quinn, the head coach himself of the Commanders, all saying positive things towards Terry McLaurin playing. But Ian Rappaport comes out and completely refutes all of that. Again, I don't know what information he's getting as of like early this morning, but apparently it's enough to where he felt like he could go out there and say he doesn't think he's going to play. Rappaport also noted that McLaurin hasn't participated even in one limited practice since his injury, so that's the thing. We got to watch Terry McLaurin today and tomorrow to see if he practices at all, because, again, he's been limited. Samuel Cosmi's practicing in full, and he didn't even play last week. But again, his whole situation is more ramp up. Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown are more so recovered from injury, so that is a different situation. But now going back to yesterday, here's a 35-second clip uploaded by Scott Abraham of Jaden Daniels practicing in the black uniforms. Just to remind y'all, We will be wearing the all black unis against the Bears. We will be bringing that back out. Remember, we wore them last week against the Bears. And first of all, that Jada Daniels super accurate sidearm throw to the net was insane. Caleb Williams could never. Speaking of the Bears, I feel like I would have said that even if we weren't going against the Bears this upcoming weekend, but I felt like that was perfect. You also have them throwing to Noah Brown, which is really significant as well. But I really wanted to show y'all this to point out the fact that we are wearing our all black uniforms in this game. So please understand the assignment. Follow directions, wear your all black to the game, man. We're trying to shut it down. We're trying to have a serious home field advantage there. We want the crowd noise to be really loud when the Bears are on the field and everything like that. We want the whole theme to be a blackout theme. So let's do that, man. Please, please, y'all. And then also, before we move on to the next part of the video, head coach Dan Quinn talked about Brandon Coleman. He said on an update for Brandon Coleman, he said, quote, "Yep, I was pleased to see the practice by Brandon Coleman last week," which, first of all, to get away from the quote, to say that you were impressed and pleased with his practice last week, what does that mean he was doing the weeks before that? So apparently you weren't pleased with his practices the weeks before that, which shows that the reason that Chris Paul is starting over Brandon Coleman, it wasn't necessarily his play on the field. It was more so his practice habits and maybe his attitude and his mentality going day in and day out as far as practices and all of that type of stuff. So this was like more of an off the field concern, not necessarily how good Brandon Coleman is, but how he prepares throughout the week. So that just goes to show. Dan Quinn kind of snitched on himself right there by saying, I liked his practice last week. What does that mean? You didn't like the ones before that? But continuing with the quote, what he did, how he played in practice, and then we'll go back through the whole thing again. But I thought he threw a really good week last week, and it's a good group that we have, so it is high competition, and we'll continue to play it out. But I was pleased with what I saw last week, and then we'll head into this week as well, unquote. Doesn't sound like, unless Chris Paul loses his job, I don't think there's any opportunity for Brandon Coleman to win the job, to be completely honest with you. Chris Paul has been hooping, and I'm going to talk about this. I'm coming out with a stats video either later on this evening or tomorrow morning that shows that, like, yo, Chris Paul is that guy right now. Again, you even have the film guy that joins Kevin Sheehan every now and then saying that Chris Paul is literally playing like our best offensive lineman on the entire team. And we have a bunch of really good offensive linemen. Laremy Tunsil, Tyler Biotish are perennial Pro Bowlers. Josh Connolly is a first-round rookie talent at right tackle. And then even Andrew Wiley's been holding it down at right guard and playing really well and should be starting for other offensive lines around the NFL. And that I can't remember the guy's name yet. Again, I'm gonna tell y'all and break all of that down with my stats video. But he said that Chris Paul is playing like the best offensive lineman on the Commanders. So again, just to reiterate, like I just said, I don't think Brandon Coleman can win this job. Chris Paul would have to lose this job, and I don't see for any reason why he would lose this job. If Chris Paul stays healthy, he's your starting left guard for the remainder of his NFL career. That's how good he's playing right now. But now, before we move on to the next part of this video, shouts out to my people at Transparent Labs, man. Now, as somebody that goes to the gym all the time, when I say all the time, I literally just went earlier today. I understand how people often struggle to get enough power when y'all are getting after it just like I do, man. I mean, I'm 6 foot 230, and I know what it's like to struggle hitting those protein goals while hitting the gym. And I know it's even harder to find a protein powder that doesn't have a bunch of artificial fluff all up in it. And I personally avoid those. That's why I'm happy to put y'all on to my guys at Transparent Labs. Their grass-fed whey protein isolate makes it so you're just putting clean, high-quality protein into our bodies. And when I say protein, I'm talking 28 grams of pure protein, which you can't find anywhere else. And yes, it's sourced directly from grass-fed cows. There's no artificial dyes, fillers, nor sweeteners. And it's third-party tested, so it's solid for real. You can trust this. And I know we've talked about how pure it is already, but what about the taste and the texture, right? And I know a lot of people are probably thinking that right now. Well, trust me, I've already had it. Literally tasted it for myself as well. First of all, it's smooth, so you don't have to deal with all of that chalky texture that other protein powders have. Like, I'm dead serious too. And somehow, even after all of that, it tastes good too. I personally prefer French vanilla because I'm just a simple person. But if you're not, they have 14 different natural flavors that you can tap into as well. I mean, who else has that many protein powder options? You can't get bored with these like other places that may only have like 3 options at most while you're trying to hit your protein goals. Again, 14 different flavor options, and it's smooth. And right now, this is the time to try some Transparent Labs grass-fed protein. For a limited time, you can get 10% off your order and a free protein starter kit with every subscription, y'all. You'll get a shaker bottle and a variety of 5 single-serving pouches in their top flavors. And to get all of that, you can just click the link in the description, or you can even just scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. Get it while it lasts, bro. I'm telling you, it's for real. So shouts out to Transparent Labs for sponsoring this video and rocking with the kid. And now let's get back to the next part of this video. Now let's dive into Jaden Daniels talking to the media. And again, every time he's talking to the media, you can just tell he does not want to be there. He is only there so he doesn't get fined. I mean, he's media trained, but he clearly does not want to be there. Also, he clearly does not want to keep dwelling on this whole Hail Mary thing. Of course, a lot of people want to hype it up. I mean, they love it. I mean, we as fans love it, but he is the player that took part in it. That was the reason that it was even successful. He's sick of it, bro. Like John Com straight up asks, you don't like to look back on last year like the Hail Mary. Why is that? And he said, I mean, he just straight up cussed and said the S word. And then he said, that Hail Mary ain't going to help us on Monday. So what's the point? I mean, you could just tell that, man, this press conference thing is a second job to Jaden Daniels. This NFL football is quarterbacking. All of that is one job. Practicing, planning games, film study, that's all one separate job. And then you just have talking to the media as another one, which I understand. I feel like if I was a player, maybe I'd be the same way. A lot of players are like that. They just do their best job to not show it as much as Jaden Daniels shows it. But he clearly doesn't like it. Shouts out to Real Robinson. He said talking to the media is the worst part of Jaden's day. He truly despises it. And I agree. I don't think there's a worse part of the day for Jaden Daniels than having to talk to the media before and after practices, man. I mean, here's the actual clip right here if you wanted to see it, 14 seconds.
Like you said, you don't want to look back at last year, the Hail Mary, all that. You don't seem to want to do that with a lot of things. Why is that? Like, what don't you want to look back at? Like,
I mean, that Hail Mary ain't gonna help us win a game on Monday, so what's the point?
And then here's Dan Quinn even talking about the Hail Mary as well. He was reminiscing on it. And talked about, he said he enjoyed looking back and did so because he was asked, but says he's not and will not bring it up with the team. That was last season's story, was his exact quote. Here's him talking about it for 1 minute and 5 seconds. But before I show y'all the clip, I thought that it was interesting that he basically said, I like it. I love going back and rewatching the play, but I already know that the players on the team don't like it. I'm pretty sure most of the players, or maybe even all of them, on the same side of Jaden Daniels, where it's like, man, that play, I mean, that's cool and all. That was fun. Yeah, that was great. Yay, all of that stuff. But it's not going to help us this Monday night coming up. I mean, we shouldn't have to depend on the Hail Mary again, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? So the players are ready to move on. They don't care about it much at all. That was a last year thing. Dan Quinn is showing, I mean, you can see in this upcoming clip I'm going to show y'all that's 1 minute and 5 seconds again, that he loves it. He still enjoys it as much as us as fans do, but clearly the players do not. And I love the fact that Dan Quinn can read the room and knows that even though he loves it, the players don't want to talk about it. He's not going to keep bringing it up to them.
I would say, and one, I don't mind the question. It was one of the most fun chapters of last year. It is last year's story. It's not this year's. But probably like most of us, there's like the longer a scramble goes on a Hail Mary, at least you know the ball is going to get off. So you're not looking down the field too early, but to make somebody miss, you're waiting, and then probably like most of us, a collective gasp. And so I don't know if there was a lot of activity in that little space in between from like he's going to get it off to the catch. I think like everybody just like shit, and you're waiting and not knowing, and so like that's probably the space that I was at. But it's a play that's also, and I think Aaron Rodgers probably been one of the best that I've seen going against it, is buying time, when to go, how high you have to throw it to create trajectory to go down, because you have to have time for the players to get down the field so far. So it's something that the guys work on, but yeah, it was rare and fun and all those things.
And then Jaden Daniels said that he was looking forward to a packed out crowd and everybody out there being in all black. Again, I want to emphasize, please wear all black. Understand the assignment. Follow directions, Commanders fans, when you go to that game. And he said this is going to be his first home Monday night football game in the NFL. I didn't even think about that part. But here's an 11-second clip of him talking about that. Again, please wear your all black. Even if you don't want to listen to me, Jaden Daniels is asking y'all to please do it.
It'll be the first Monday night that I experience at home, so hopefully, we're packed out. Everybody's out there in the black, and we show them the home crowd advantage.
Then Jaden Daniels talked about when he noticed Bill's potential to be special. I feel like this is also a really important clip because, I mean, right now they're two arguably the most explosive players on our entire team, with Debo probably as like a close third. It's incredible. The duo and the combination that they are on the ground is absolutely unstoppable. Here's 15 seconds of Jaden Daniels talking about Bill.
You can see some of the cuts that he made throughout camp, but it's kind of hard when you're not getting hit or tackled. So seeing him able to run in the preseason and things like that, we knew that he had something to him, and I'm glad that he should get to show it each and every week.
But don't forget about Luke McCaffrey. He was asked about him. He said, quote, he sees it through the eyes of a quarterback. He puts in work. Those are exact quotes from Jaden Daniels. Remember, Luke McCaffrey was a quarterback until like a year or two before he left out of college. That's why I'm not necessarily too surprised that he's starting to really develop into a pretty deadly and effective and consistent, most importantly, consistent wide receiver, because last year was like one of his first years of playing wide receiver in his life. He was a quarterback. Like, I think growing up his entire life, quarterback, literally until like a year or two before he left college, and then drafted by the Commanders. Now he's learning wide receiver, not only at the, just period in life, but trying to learn wide receiver at the NFL level after only doing it for like a year or two in college. That's an insane transition. That's why he was so raw in different aspects. But I already showed y'all the relative athletic scores. His ceiling is insane. He's a better athlete than even Christian McCaffrey, his brother. And I did it based off of wide receiver relative athletic score. He had the higher score between the two. And then even when I made them both running backs, put in their exact same measurables, they're the exact what they tested in the combine and stuff like that, height, weight, all of that type of stuff. And Luke McCaffrey had the higher relative athletic score even when it came to running back as well. The ceiling is there. It's just gonna take time to develop. He's very raw and new at the wide receiver position. And reminding y'all, even with that tangent I just went on, he used to be a quarterback, and Jaden Daniels says that he basically notices that, hey, this wide receiver used to play quarterback for an extensive period of time. Here's the clip right here, 26 seconds of Jaden Daniels hyping up Luke McCaffrey.
I mean, just his growth as a receiver, another year. He was a former quarterback, so that transition wasn't like where he played receiver majority of his life. So he also sees it through the eyes of a QB. So that's another good thing for him. And, he puts in the work, man. He put in the work this offseason. It's showing off. He's making big plays when we need him to. So I'm super happy for Luke.
And then now, before we move on to the final third of the video, again, I just have a few more updates. Like, first, I really want to take the time to make sure people stop comparing other 2024 draft class quarterbacks to Jaden Daniels. We got to do a quick discussion on that. And then I also have a Rico report to update y'all on a lot of different random things. But before we get there, shouts out to Sleeper, man. Football is a full go, man. The Commanders play Monday Night Football, man. We're about to be in like a full swing of like no 1 p.m. games, a bunch of primetime standalone games. Just to let you know, we have Monday night against the Bears. Then it's 4:25 p.m. at Cowboys. Then it's Monday night against the Chiefs. Then it's Sunday night versus the Seahawks. Then it's the Detroit Lions game that's going to be super prime time, even though it's 4 p.m. Then it's in Spain against the Dolphins bye week. Then we come back Sunday night against the Broncos. Then we finally get a 1 p.m. game for the first time since September against the Vikings on December 7th, bro. That is absolutely insane, man. Commanders football has never been more exciting. We've never had more of a spotlight like this on us since back when we would win the Super Bowls in the late 80s and early 90s. Now you have Jaden Daniels balling out. Hopefully you get Terry McLaurin back as soon as possible. You have Deebo Samuel balling, Bill balling, and you can pick on stats for stars like these with touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Again, you heard me, 1,000 times payout. And right now, as you can see on the screen right now, new users can even get a free $20 without a deposit on top of the already get a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit using promo code SCORE. That's SCORE. Or you can even just click the link at the top of the description of this video and every video on live stream I'm doing all year. And of course, man, we got to dive into some picks in this video. And I already have a few picks together that I'm really feeling. And you know me, I try to remember to tell y'all, like, out of like the 8 legs that I do, which pick I'm most nervous about. I'm not gonna lie. Jalen Hurts is so bad at throwing the ball, even that 0.5 passing yards, I'm worried about right there. That's probably the one I'm most worried about. But honestly, though, I think J.K. Dobbins, yards, I think he'll be good to go. Tony Pollard, I like that one as well. I got the Bijan Robinson. I got the Ashton Genty. We got the Dalton Kincaid. Javonte Williams, I think he can get a touchdown. Josh Jacobs has only gone like one game out of like the last 17 to 18 he's played in without a touchdown. So I think he's a safe play as well. So, I mean, this is my 8-leg that I'm working on. I want to work on another one. But, you know, I like to have my Friday deadline for my Sunday 8-leg that I'm trying to turn $10 into 800 again, or 10 into 1,000 or whatever. This one's a little bit safer. This one's turning 10 into 322, but I still really like it. So just stay tuned, man, because some of these I even changed the numbers. Like J.K. Dobbins, I think his line is at like 70 something. I changed it to 60 just to be a little bit safer, but we can still win. So this is my current 8-leg. This is my early one. And watch out for Jalen Hurts trying to get that one passing yard, man. But again, shouts out to Sleeper, man. You can use promo code SCORE. Now let's get to the rest of this video. Hey, man, can people please stop comparing the 2024 draft class quarterbacks to the premier, no matter of fact, the 2024 draft class quarterback, and that is Jaden Daniels. It's really getting out of hand, man. It's absolutely insane. Like, you had like the Patriots accounts on Twitter, because you know, Drake May had a good game. He beat Josh Allen, you know, cool. Congratulations. That was a good game. But why is Drake May's burner account on Twitter? Like, that's the name of it. Of course, it's not Drake May's actual burner account or anything like that. But they tweeted immediately after the game, not congratulations to Drake May. Not Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Not even Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks or the best quarterback out of the 2024 draft class. How about the exact tweet went as, Jaden Daniels could never look this good in prime time? What you say F me for? 50 Cent meme, like, what's going on? Like, why Jaden Daniels specifically? Not Caleb Williams, not Bo Nix, not Michael Penix, not even Josh Allen that he went against in that game. Like, Jaden Daniels specifically. And shouts out to Burger Manders. He brings up a good point. He said every 2024 quarterback gets compared to JD5 when they finally have a good game. Levels to this. We don't care about Drake May. We don't care about Caleb Williams. We do not care about Bo Nix. I can't even remember the last time I said Drake May's name out loud. And I've definitely never tweeted about him. I just don't get it. And then you had this like one Bears fan that tweeted this picture right here talking about October 13th, 7/15. And then like had the Offensive Rookie of the Year award on the ground and stuff like that. Like, Bears fans are really holding on to the fact that Caleb Williams did not win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It is absolutely insane. Like, we're not competing for that. They're making it look like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Y'all know that we're in year 2, right? Neither of these guys can win that award again. And it's Jaden Daniels, you can't take it away from him, and he earned it. He set a record for most Offensive Rookie of the Weeks won in his season in NFL history. Like, I'm so confused by the obsession here. But J. Daniels MVP said the way Bears fans are talking on here would make you think whoever wins this matchup gets to keep the Rookie of the Year award. Like, Bears fans are really acting like whoever wins Monday night gets the award, even though Jaden Daniels already won it or whatever. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And then you even had this Bears fan that came out of nowhere back on October 6th and said, wore my Caleb Williams jersey to work today. Some guy on the L stopped me just now and said, wish he fell to us, man. I'm a Commanders fan, by the way. Wow. No, nobody ever said that. That is headcanon. Pure headcanon. You are lying, sir. No Commanders fan walked up to you randomly in Chicago and said, man, I wish we got Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. There's just no, so shouts out to John Wick on Twitter. He said, Bears fans have done the following. Made fake passing charts for Jaden. Oh yeah, they always, every time they do stats comparisons to Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, they always admit every stat that Jaden Daniels is better at than Caleb Williams, whether it's like your passing yards or whatever, third down, throwing percentage, completion, whatever stats that Jaden Daniels is better at, they just completely erase those. They only have the stats that Caleb Williams just happens to have the statistical advantage in. It's crazy. Also said they'd rather beat us than seeing their own Cubs win a title. They did say that. Also, don't forget that they were rooting for the Lions, a division rival, to win against us in the playoffs last year in that divisional round. That's like Commanders fans rooting for the Cowboys to beat, say, the Packers or something like that. Like, that makes zero sense to me. Also, spammed the mom jokes into the dirt. dirt. Yep. Made a picture with Jaden and Caleb with the Rookie of the Year trophy, like I just showed y'all. And then also the fact that, yes, Jaden won that award unanimously, too. There wasn't even a question. And then now making up fake scenarios that didn't happen to prop up Kalen. Do with this information what you wish. These people are delusional. I mean, I don't know what they got going on. And just to remind you, Jaden Daniels is the only quarterback in this draft class to go without an interception so far this year. Now, granted, yes, Jaden Daniels did miss 2 games, but even ignoring that, how about just since all of these quarterbacks were drafted, what are their records? Well, since 2024, Drake May's 5-11, Caleb Williams is 7-14, Jaden Daniels is 14-6. And you could easily argue that between all of the teams, Caleb Williams had the better team. I mean, that whole discussion coming out of the draft, Caleb Williams is going to the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever gone to in NFL history, so I don't want to hear no excuses at all. And then if you really want to get specific, check out this chart right here for efficiency from 2024 quarterbacks and look at Jaden Daniels compared to all of the other quarterbacks, bro. You can't even see Caleb Williams because he's like all the way down there so far below. He's like cut out of the graph or whatever. And then, I mean, even when you're looking at like the EPA or the plays and stuff like that, it's a big gap between Jaden Daniels and the guy in second place with Bo Nix. Then you have Drake May. Then you have Michael Penix. Then Caleb Williams is in the negatives and Spencer Rattler is also in the negatives, bro. There are levels to this, bro. They are not the same, but shouts out to Jaden Daniels for keeping it classy. He was also asked in his press conference yesterday about the other quarterbacks in this draft class, including number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams, who he faces Monday night. Here's a 40-second clip of Jaden Daniels responding to that.
Knowing that you are a guy that likes watching football, how much you pay attention at all to the other quarterbacks in your draft class from last year, this early in the year? And if so, what have you kind of seen, particularly from Caleb and Drake?
He's been doing his thing, so I always keep up with like football in general. So he's been doing his thing, and we got our hands full coming up on Monday night with him and his offense is just a whole team in general.
Prepared for you to tell me no, but do you pay it? He was number 1, you were number 2. Does it none of that matters?
Nah, he got drafted number 1, I got drafted 2. Nothing we could do to change that.
And then before we get up out of here, here's just random run through of some other interesting updates that I feel like maybe y'all would be interested in knowing. So first of all, the Commanders sent 5 reps to the Rose Bowl for that Penn State UCLA game where Penn State, I told y'all they were frauds the whole time, but they ended up losing to UCLA, who at the time never held a lead in any game so far this college football season until they whipped up on Penn State. But either way, the Commanders sent 5 reps to that game. Now, if this were a separate video, I would dive into the top players for both Penn State and UCLA that maybe the Commanders are targeting. Of course, with UCLA, we have a lot of ties there. I mean, we took as many UCLA players as possible between the draft and undrafted free agency last year. Adam Peters is a UCLA alum. Ken Norton Jr. was just a linebacker or the defensive coordinator maybe for them. Now he's our linebackers coach. And even since recently, like a couple of weeks ago, Adam Peters was added to like the coaching search committee for UCLA to find a new head coach. Like, we're heavily involved there. So I'm surprised that it took for us to send 5 reps to that. Maybe it was just a fun like event, just to have an excuse to go to a UCLA game or something like that. But if there's any team where we don't need to send scouts to get all of the background information on the players, is that one, because we have so many ties directly to that organization. But either way, maybe they went there to look at Penn State as well. Even again, frauds. But either way, shouts out to DC Sports Dre. He said for his quarter season awards so far, maybe I'll do a video like this to break down my awards, but just to go off of his, he said offensive MVP, Deebo Samuel. Defensive MVP, Dorrance Armstrong. Can't argue with those. Most improved player, he said Chris Paul, but Luke is right there behind him as an honorable mention. But yes, Chris Paul, insane. Best rookie, Bill, easily. Even though Trey Amos is like a close second. Don't sleep on Trey Amos. Best play, Jeremy McNichols, 60-yard touchdown run. I can't argue against that. And then best individual performance, he said Bill versus the Chargers. I cannot argue against any of those. And then he also pointed out the fact that Sutter, you have the Sutter guy that does film study. He does it with Kevin Sheehan on his podcast. And again, I'm gonna do like a dive into this with stats and stuff in a later video. But he pointed out that the Sutter guy on Kevin Sheehan's podcast said that Chris Paul is a Pro Bowler and by far Not only just the best offensive lineman on the team that he's graded so far this season, but by far the best one. Resh Manuel replied and said, that's high praise. I'm not sure about all of that, but I did say the other day that Bill wasn't the only 7th round pick who stood out on Sunday. Chris Paul has been putting in the work and he's made the most of the opportunity to play right now. Then DC Sports Dre replied and said, he may not get recognition nationally enough to get a Pro Bowl nod this as an award and win it, but his play seems to be Pro Bowl level this year. I completely agree with all of that. Sutter also said, quote, in the 300 snaps I've evaluated of Chris Paul, I may have only knocked him on something in 4 or 5 of them. That is incredible efficiency. So out of 300 snaps so far for Chris Paul this season, apparently he's only maybe had 4 or 5 plays where he wasn't nearly perfect. That is absolutely insane. And then his name is Steve Sutter. My fault. DC Sports Dre talked about how Steve Sutter's breakdown of Jaden versus the Chargers compared him to his breakdown of Jaden versus the Packers as night and day. Says Jaden was incredible. Only 2 negative plays all day, and I think Jaden taking off from here this season. Basically, this is only the beginning. Jaden has found his rhythm. He's going to keep going. And Mike Hall, my boys over there at the Burgundy Zone, he brings up a great point. Last year, it took 6 quarters for Jaden to get comfortable, and then he took off like a rocket in that second half versus the Giants and then went crazy on Cincinnati and Arizona. And then fast forward this year, weeks 1 and 2 were meh. He gets injured. That took away 2 games from him. And then it took him like a couple of series against the Chargers to get right, and then boom, and he's about to go on another crazy run. I completely agree. And then lastly, before we get up out of here, a lot of people are coming out there with this theory where Cliff Kingsbury leaves for a head coaching job next year. Mike McDaniels, who looks very dejected, especially after that Panthers loss. Like, there was a whole clip of him going into the locker room after losing to the Panthers. He looked like he wanted to quit football. Like, he looked so depressed, man. So some people are coming up with theories. Kingsbury leaves for a head coaching job because he's going to be the hottest name on the market after this season. And then we're going to end up with Mike McDaniels as the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. And he's going to be like just as much of a genius as Cliff Kingsbury. I think that's an interesting theory right there. That's looking too far ahead. I don't want to talk about stuff like that because right now I'm in the moment. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. I love Cliff Kingsbury. I hope Cliff Kingsbury somehow is our offensive coordinator for the rest of my life. But I thought that was an interesting theory to go ahead and throw out there to y'all, just in case if, for some crazy reason, some slim odds later, it ends up happening. Just thought that was funny and something to discuss in the comment section. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you love everything discussed video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all for supporting the videos and watching them all the way through to the end, man. Shouts out to my Watch to the End gang, WTTEG in the building. Shouts out to my Notification gang, Noti gang in the building. Shouts out to the late night crew. Even though I'm releasing this, I'm recording this at 12:40. It'll probably be out by like 2 p.m. Shouts out to those y'all that will be watching this late night for absolutely no reason. Them vampire hours like I be on, man. Hey, man, that's that bond between us right there. But shouts out to all y'all. Leave a like on the way out. And of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about Samuel Cosmi and Noah Brown quite likely playing against the Bears and how big that could be for our offense. Let me know how you feel about Terry McLaurin maybe being the one guy that does not play against the Bears out of the group of 3 that we've been waiting on. Let me know how you feel about Jaden Daniels and how he feels about the Hail Mary. How do you feel about these other 2024 draft class quarterbacks being compared to Jaden Daniels constantly, and anything else that we talked about throughout this video? Let me know how y'all feel in the comment section. I'm going to try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. But in the meantime, leave a like on the way out. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.